You do whatever you got to do, and you build consistencies, and you develop yourself the best you can until you start getting to levels of success that you've been admiring. The bottom line is it takes what it takes. And if you're looking at self-improvement or self-growth, entrepreneurship is probably one of the biggest platforms that will force you and require you to self-develop and create a better version of yourself, because without that, you just don't grow. Like, you can skate by in a 9-to-5 job, and because you've been there 15 years, they promote you. And entrepreneurship, unless you are growing and evolving, you're not going to win. But dude, that's the benefit, is you take your losses on the chin in entrepreneurship and you grow, and there's ebb and flow to it. But the one thing that you will get is stronger and better, and you'll manage yourself better. It's so hard to analyze why people don't get after it. I stopped trying to figure that out, and I just meet people where they're at. The ones that are getting after it, the ones that make themselves known and they're getting loud and they're looking for help, I'm just focusing on those ones and how I can help them reach their level of success that they desire.
As a branding expert in the real estate space, what do you say to somebody in 2024 that doesn't yet understand the importance of having a personal brand?
Matt, expert's a strong word. I don't know if I'm quite an expert, but what I will say, like in the past couple of years, right, and we'll call it right at 6 years, having a couple 100,000 followers, and doing a couple hundred deals in real estate transactions off of YouTube. It's not just like everybody that's like outside of your scale. And I guess how we compare it in real estate is, it's fun to do deals with my sphere, friends and family and referrals and people that know someone who knows someone that knows me. And it's awesome. Brand, when it comes to like, hey, how do you dissect it? Or like, what does it mean? Like, if we just go real elementary and understanding the value of it, you got to find a way to create more reach. Right. So, for example, we have a large YouTube channel where we talk about living in Denver, everything you need to know living in or moving to Denver. Last year, we had 140 people call us, text us, or email us and close on a home in Denver from our YouTube channel. And these are folks that I never would have known, never would have known me if I wasn't understanding brand. So when it comes to brand, it's before I try to figure out how I'm making someone feel or if they're going to be using me or not, it's really identifying platforms that allow your brand to expand. Does that make sense? It's like, no matter how powerful your brand is, how powerful you are, like if we can't get it to expand where more know about it, you're just not going to have, the scalability. But it's also local, right? So like my daughter, she's in junior high, she's going to start high school, and all of her teachers and her principal knew me because I was on the Drew Barrymore show because of our YouTube channel. So it's like all this Marine Corps badass shit I've done, I'm no longer that. I'm the YouTube guy that's like, embarrassing his daughter in junior high. And this will be fun. Frank, you'll love this, Frank, because I'm getting like a ton of telemarketers calling my phone this morning because we just did a rate buy down. We just did a refi on my house for a lower rate. And I'm getting probably 100 calls and all the spam. And you guys know how this works. I'm going to show this to your screen, Rich. I don't know if you can see that. And then I'll read it to you.
Yeah. Okay.
So a telemarketer, I answered the phone. I was like, dude, you got to get me off your list. I cannot be getting this many calls. He's like, thanks for being a good sport. I'm going to text you the donotcall.gov website to remove yourself. But then he says, I said, thank you. And then he says, always best wishes to you. Also, love your podcast. Thought I recognized your name. God bless you and your family. Like, when you're on a telemarketer fucking knows your name or who you are, it's like, man, that's cool. But hey, why is that cool? It's all of these intangibles and like indirect influence you're going to have that's outside of your immediate circle that you never would have had. So for me, dude, first things first is having integrity, being great at what you do, and just being a great practitioner, whether it's real estate or not. Doing a great job and caring for people and doing the right thing. Got it. We have integrity. We have a good product. We do a great job. Cool. Now, how do we scale that to get in front of more people to help more people that wouldn't necessarily readily know who I am based off of just your limited sphere of influence, if that makes sense. So for me, when I identify a brand, it's not so much what it needs to look like or feel like. It's more so just how can I get myself out there as much? And obviously, I don't look like a realtor, right? Like Frank, I probably look like you, like people owe us money, right? It's like, how are people buying a couple hundred homes a year from me, dude? Video. If there's one thing you could do for yourself when it comes to your brand, and like, Will, I am a nice guy. I am a nice girl. I am great at what I do. I do articulate well. If you understand the leverage and power of video, that is the number one thing you can use to allow people to get a feel and know, like, and trust you to make that judgment call of whether you're for them or not. And that's why a lot of people pick us, because even though it looks like I owe you money, no, man, I'm a realtor and we do a great job. But video and talking about Denver gives me time and opportunity to literally talk and just inform folks, and they can watch it on their timeline and they can contact us when it's appropriate for them. So for me, dude, it's video and then understanding platforms on how to scale it. I go way more practical, way more tactical when it comes to brand versus like the hippie side of what it should feel like. Not that that stuff's not important, but if you don't understand tactically how to be proficient there, it won't matter.
Yeah, man, I resonate so much with that, man. That's incredible. 140 homes just off of one YouTube platform. I think a lot of people, I just spent a week down in Colombia with 6 dudes, 4 of them, in the top real estate, market here in Tampa. One guy crushing it in luxury markets down in Naples, Florida. And we were having conversations around like the changing of generations, like in the real estate game. I think, I'm not sure what it is in Denver, but still here in Florida, the average real estate agent is like a 55-year-old white male. Well, the people buying homes are mid 30s into their early 30s, their first home purchasers. Like that's kind of the age demographic. Here, these guys are now like understanding some of the things that you're talking about here, being able to relate to the market buyers, being able to relate to the people that are buying the homes.
And dude, during COVID, right, when we were first building our YouTube channel, I was working out in my basement. I got, this house I had prior to this one and just an empty vacant basement. And you all remember COVID. Like, all right, we got to stay in shape, keep your mind strong. I'm going downstairs. I'm doing these bodyweight workouts. Of course, dude, I'm squatting downstairs. And I let my knees kind of turn in a bit. Long story short, I pinched my sciatica. And I'm like, I've never done it before. Sucked. Have a buddy come and like rub my butt out and help a little bit. But then I had to just learn, like, I'm not going to a doctor right now. I don't think I need surgery. I just need to start rehabbing the glute and stretching and isolating on different muscles. Long story short, I didn't meet them, but I found this channel called Bob and Brad, the 2 most famous physical therapists on the internet. And you're like, what? Like these fucking nerds? Dude, I completely rehabbed my sciatica watching their videos. So for those of you that are not in real estate right now, understanding the power of YouTube, it's a search engine. It's owned by Google. So even if people are on Google, how to fix my sciatica pain, guess what Google's going to put in the results? YouTube videos, because Google owns YouTube, right? If you go to YouTube itself and you start searching, they're going to find it. But here's the point. This is not like, dude, like our Instagram news feeds, right? When we go to our Instagram and you're sitting on the shitter, right? You're going through your news feed and you're doing this. You're not necessarily wanting to stop and watch something longer than a minute. People are going to YouTube and they're searching. Our average watch time on our videos for living in Denver is well over 10 minutes. They're literally searching and they're watching. And dude, believe it or not, you can also measure like if they're watching it on a phone, on a laptop, or a TV. Over 60% of our clients that are watching our YouTube, they're watching it from their television. That data matters. But what I'm getting at is whether you're in real estate or not, understanding platforms and whether it's fixing your sciatica, how to get 6-pack abs, how to be, a more in shape dad, how to be in shape over 40, where to live, how to do a job. Dude, they're on there searching, they're sitting down paying attention, and just understanding that criteria and like where you can leverage your brand and give education out that then also scales whatever business that you're trying to push. It's irreplaceable, man. And it's also just more modern. Like we're starting to remember when the UFC came out, someone was a boxer or a kickboxer or jiu-jitsu, right? Everyone had like a focus. But then eventually UFC got old enough to where kids grew up just training MMA. They no longer have like, oh, I'm a boxer or I'm a sumo wrestler. Nope. We are now in a generation where we don't have kids and we don't have people really buying, like the people buying the majority of the homes now. A lot of them are younger than me. I'm 39, which means all of them grew up with the internet. All of them grew up searching fucking Google. We remember before Google, we remember Ask Jeeves and that bullshit. Dude, no, like now you're at this age where like they don't remember how to use it because they don't remember what was before, which means all they are is using this. Some of us that are older that still want to do things that are old school, no problem, because we remember how to do that prior to. But the majority of your generations buying homes right now, they don't even remember what that looked like, which means the only thing they know are those platforms, which means if you can't adjust and build value there, you're going to miss out.
Yeah, I'm 40, man. I think you and I are probably right at the end of that generation where we had some of our professional life pre-internet, and then we've had a vast majority of it with the smartphones. I want to maybe even here get a little bit tactical on the content side of things, because something that you said really piqued my curiosity. I remember Gary Vee talking about how realtors, this goes back years, this is early Gary Vee, 7-8 years ago, when he's talking about become almost like the town square of the city that you're selling homes in. Like you see a lot of realtors, right? Like you go to their social media pages. It's nothing but the homes that they're selling. It's nice aerial shots. They get the drones out there. They're doing walkthroughs. What you said though, is you are creating content about living in Denver. I don't think a lot of realtors understand that part. Like, you don't need to show the homes. They're going to come see the home if they're interested in living the town. So
They're not. You're not going to come see the home. And by the time they see you, that home's probably already gone. You're 1,000% right. Such a great question. For example, I'm just going to give you our channel right now, and I'll give you some examples. So if everybody's listening, download an app and a source called TubeBuddy. TUBE and then Buddy. It's like YouTube's Buddy. It will help you grade titles and names for channels based off of like search criteria and how much volume of that type of title is already out there. What you want to do is create content that's getting a lot of searches, but doesn't have a lot of content out there that's on it, right? So for example, man, I'll go to my channel right now. Let's go to videos. Here's the titles and here's the type of content we're doing within real estate. It's not showing an address in a home. It's the best suburbs of Denver, Colorado. Don't miss these two neighborhoods. Moving to Denver. Here's how to find your perfect neighborhood. Buy a home now in Denver, Colorado. Big interest rates update. The best suburb of Denver. Why everyone is moving here. Living in Denver. A tour of urban, suburban, and rural lifestyles. Finding the perfect place to live in Denver. The reason why these titles are the way they are is because of our split testing, our research on titles. And we're literally like, dude, YouTube, you got to go to them. On your social media, whether it's a house, a cat, a dog, or your workout, your followers are seeing it. So it doesn't matter what it is because you have a follower. On Google and on YouTube, people don't know you exist. You got to create titles and content based off of what people are searching, and you got to go to them. So the reason why we're not showing a specific house, even though we show a lot of homes in certain areas that we're showing, this is not clickbait. We show the areas we're talking about. The bottom line is they don't care about contracts yet. They don't care about what escrow is. They don't care about inspections. Not yet. They care about that stuff once we find an area in a home, and then I'll be a realtor. Right now, dude, people are moving from around the country to Colorado. They're moving their families. They need to know, like, where am I living? What are the best school districts? How far is the commute into Denver? What type of homes are in these certain areas? What do I do recreationally out there? Like, how bad is snow here versus here? That's what they're trying to figure out, and that's what we're giving them. But it's, again, man, it's no guesswork. We're literally testing titles and doing everything to figure out what people are searching, and then we're creating content that people are already showing they search.
Now, with these 140 home purchases that you had just last year, what percentage of them were outside of Colorado prior to purchasing the home? Because I think that's a big thing there as well, is like being on a platform like YouTube, you now have a global reach. Whereas if you're just doing the traditional kind of realtor type marketing, billboards, bus signs, flyers,
over 90%.
like you're over 90%.
So think of this. Real estate in Colorado or any other state. You remember the game Hungry Hungry Hippos?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
absolutely,
that's real estate. All these fucking realtors just trying to grab the marbles that are already inside of Colorado.
Yeah.
My business partner and I, Eli, we just turned around and looked at all the marbles coming into Colorado from outside. And it's a lot. And no one else is like catering to that versus us. And we obviously have past clients and stuff in Denver as well. But this isn't just Colorado, man. I've got a buddy, Sam. We helped him with this channel. He was, after the pandemic, he moved from Oklahoma to Florida. New to Florida, new to real estate within his first year, and new to YouTube. And the dude made over 400 grand in sales catering to folks moving to Florida. And they don't care if you're new. They're watching you on video. They care that you care. They care that you articulate well, and they feel like they can trust you. And imagine being a new realtor thinking you got to compete with a real estate agent that's been around 25 years and knows everybody. If you're creating content at scale, getting outside and abroad to where you normally wouldn't grab people, you don't have to compete with that guy's book of business and all the people he knows or the neighborhood he farms. You're grabbing all these people from out of state coming in that don't know any realtor.
What are the primary skill sets to succeed on YouTube, right? You think about a real estate agent, you need, communication, you need the ability to connect, some persuasion, influence, perhaps your look, but I think you've kind of debunked that here a little bit. Is there a direct crossover from like what makes a successful realtor to somebody that succeed on YouTube, or are there other skill sets that somebody has to acquire?
YouTube is such a different demographic as far as what they want compared to like an Instagram. It's everyone's highlight. It's everyone's fancy car or perfectly edited photo. YouTube, they love vlogs. They want to actually see what the neighborhoods look like. So first and foremost, you got to be consistent. Think of YouTube as a big business, okay? Think of YouTube as a big mall. And your channel is a store inside that mall. The more consistent you post, and the longer people watch your content, the more YouTube wants to promote you because you're keeping people on YouTube. So they want to continue to promote you because you are a great asset, a great business inside of YouTube. If you're not consistent with videos at least twice a week, If you're not creating long form content, 12 minutes or longer, if it's not informative and people aren't watching, YouTube doesn't necessarily want to promote that store on the big sign out in front of the mall because you're barely open. And when you are open, people don't like it, right? So they just don't want it. So you got to be consistent. You got to make sure that you're creating content that people are actually searching that they want to see. You got to be yourself, have quality audio, have quality video. And dude, that's it, man. Like, I know I'm outgoing. I know I talk a lot. If you could see the 25 plus realtors we've helped with channels, some of them are soft spoken, some of them are nerds, some of them are funny and they're spazzes, all successful because regardless of your personality, people respect consistency, clarity, and transparency. They're cool with different personalities. When they feel like you're just giving free education and you're in it for the right reason and you're showing that you're professional by showing up on your channel every week and creating great content and the clarity of the content and the audio of the content's good, they feel like you're approaching it like a professional.
And there's 8 billion people in the world. So, the fact that you're going to resonate, somebody's going to resonate with you is going to feel a connection to you. I mean, if you, like you said, just put yourself out there, the right people that are going to want to work with you will find you.
100%. And do people figure out who you are? Like when I'm talking about the best school districts in Colorado, hey, I'm a father. I mentioned that. Guys, I'm a father. School districts matter to me. Here's what we're going to show today. So they know I'm a prior veteran. Well, I'm not a prior. I'm a veteran. Prior active. I'm a veteran. I'm a father. Like, they get to know you beyond tattoos or beyond haircut. They start getting to know the person, man, because it's long form and it's video. And like, where else can you get that level of relationship, man? It's almost better than in person. Because someone at midnight, when they get off of work, maybe I'm in bed, they can go watch my 2,000-3,000 videos on YouTube and they can binge watch them. And it's all evergreen. As long as people are searching that criteria, they're going to get it in front of them. Yet it's not taking up my time, so they can get as much of me as they want.
Yeah. Curious your strategy now to turn viewers into leads, right? So I spent a large portion of the last 6-7 years in the online marketing space. We built our Rebuilt Recovery business to a multi-6-figure coaching business, almost predominantly off of YouTube, dabbling in the Instagram space. But the vast majority of success has come off of YouTube, free content, opt-in, ebooks, free trainings. Then we lead them into a sales call. That's where we kind of do our sales conversion. Very basic model. So what are you guys doing? How are you taking viewer now to purchaser?
Call to action. You got to let, like, as much as you're doing content, people don't know you want to help them. You got to let them know you want to help them. So like for me, twice during our video, I say, hey guys, just as a reminder, we are licensed brokers in the state of Colorado. And just as much as we love making these videos, we would love more to help you with those real estate needs. So that number that's popping up below on the screen, we are the guys who answer the phone calls, text messages, and those emails. So if there's something we can do to help you with your real estate, we would love to. With that being said, let's get into point number 3 in regards to pros and cons of Colorado. So I have a call to action, and then the number and the email pops up in the screen in the video, edit it into the video, in addition to all of our links and stuff being in the text. But the bottom line is, man, like we had buddies doing this that taught us how to do YouTube. They were doing their channel for a year. Nothing was happening. But then my buddy Jackson was talking to his buddy. He's like, well, what's your call to action like? Maybe your call to action is fucked up. He goes, what's a call to action? He goes, dude, you're telling people how to live in Oregon, but you're not telling anybody you want to help them. You're just giving information. They just think you're an information channel. They don't know. So he's like, fuck. So he started creating a call to action, had 15 calls on that next video that popped up. People had no idea he was a realtor and he wanted to help them. So your call to action, it's not too salesy. When you're giving content away from free and you're leaving it up to people to call you, they don't have to register to watch your videos. They can watch. And if they want to call, they do. If they don't, they don't. It's on their timeline. And people appreciate that. But dude, they call, they text, and they email. And last year alone, we closed on 140 transactions that came from contacts just from the channel. So it's I mean, that's well over 7 figures when you're doing the math. We've been making 7 figures on our YouTube channel for several years now. Like the first year we made 800 grand. It's powerful, but you have to let people know, call me, text me, email me. I mean, obviously we've got our call system set up. We have our CRM set up for follow-up and tracking everybody. That's probably a whole nother podcast on how we do all of that. But we do have systems and processes in play to not miss a call and make sure everybody's serviced. And we get them then into what we call a buyer presentation or a strategy session. So Frank, if you called me from my channel, hey, great, what's the story? Hey, we're calling you. We're moving to Colorado. Great. What's your story? Cool. Hey, are you familiar with the next steps? What I'd love to do, Frank, is get you and your wife on a strategy session, a Zoom call, to just go over the buying process, go over your wants, your needs, your deal breakers, more specifically what the market looks like in Colorado, areas of interest that you guys like, and just putting together a great strategy on how we approach your home buying process and the timeline that you guys are looking for. As soon as we hang up, Frank, I'm going to text you my Calendly link. Feel free to schedule on any of those openings. I'll make sure Eli's there with me, my business partner, and we'll get you taken care of. And then we set up that Zoom call. And then from that Zoom call, it just progresses all the way through closing on a home.
I love this, man. We're going a little bit deeper real estate than I thought we were going to.
But this could be for anything, right? Like if you're a fitness coach out there, hey, guys, as much as I love making this free content, I love more helping you guys that are 40 years old and older getting in shape as dads. So that number that's popping up below, I am the guy that answers the phone calls, the text messages, and emails. Hit me up. Let's get a strategy session in play where you and I can meet on a Zoom call and we can figure out specifically what your needs are as a father, what your lifestyle looks like, and how I can help. That being said, let's get into point number 2 on the shit you got to stop fucking eating. Boom, right? Like it's fun, even though we're talking real estate, because that's what I do. Realize, just like when you're comparing different sports, there's something to be said about the framework of plays, athleticism, capacity, and knowledge of the game. Like whether it's basketball or football, there's going to be certain things that just translate across the board. And the things that we're talking about today, doesn't matter what industry you're in, it translates.
Fitness, finance, you're selling life insurance. You could be a local dentist, right? You can still kind of leverage.
Yeah, life insurance and finance is a little hard because there's laws that you can't speak in public about certain stuff. Believe it or not, there's certain laws that limit it. So that's more like you got to be in person and it's got to be private relationships when you talk finances. But yes, it's still possible. You just
But if your content is outside of the realm of, I mean, you said it once again, you're not really talking about real estate. You're talking about the community. You're talking about the schools. You're talking about the restaurants, so the benefits of working with a financial planner, how you can kind of leverage some of these other things. So I think there's still a lot of opportunity there for anybody, no matter what space you're in.
Dude, there's guys coaching dads, there's like a guy called like Superhuman Dad. Like, and he's got group coaching where he's just teaching dads how to be better dads based off of what he does personally that he thinks makes him a better dad. I'm sure you could do the same thing for moms. I mean, it's endless when you really look at it. What becomes congruent is the call to actions and the framework behind search criteria, and then consistency and quality of content that you have on your channel.
Yeah. What's going to keep somebody from taking action on this, right? We could provide all the great insights, every tactic. We could show the track record of success, but you and I both know that there's going to be maybe 5% of the audience that's going to hear this and is going to run with it. And that 95 is going to like look back 5 years from now and say, I wish I would have taken the action. What do you think keeps people from taking that leap?
Dude, this is going to sound harsh. It's not that I don't care. I don't try to analyze why people don't get after it. I just focus on the ones that are, making sure I help them win. You know what I mean? It's like, it's endless why people don't get started. And look, I'm not the entrepreneur that thinks everybody should win, man. I don't. Like in real estate, we've got a couple hundred realtors that work in our network now. We're just under 200 agents that work for us. I don't think everybody should win. If you're not all in and committed as a full-time guy and understanding that we're helping people with the most expensive sells or buys of their life, and you want a part-time or less into that, but then you think you should be as successful as other realtors that bleed for this, I don't think you should be. You're not earning it. So, hey, I'm not judging you, and it's nothing personal. Just understand, like Nick Saban would say at Alabama football, it takes what it fucking takes. What does it take? It takes what it takes. You do whatever you got to do, and you build consistencies, and you develop yourself the best you can until you start getting to levels of success that you've been admiring, right? But the bottom line is, it takes what it takes. And if you're looking at self-improvement or self-growth, entrepreneurship is probably one of the biggest platforms that will force you and require you to self-develop and create a better version of yourself, because without that, you just don't grow. You just don't. Like, you can skate by in a 9-to-5 job, and because you've been there 15 years, they promote you because you're not a piece of shit. And okay, and entrepreneurship, unless you are growing and evolving, you're not going to win. But dude, that's the benefit, is you take your losses on the chin in entrepreneurship and you grow, and there's ebb and flow to it. But the one thing that you will get is stronger and better, and you'll manage yourself better. But man, it's so hard to analyze why people don't get after it. I stopped trying to figure that out, and I just meet people where they're at. The ones that are getting after it, the ones that make themselves known and they're getting loud and they're looking for help, I'm just focusing on those ones and how I can help them reach their level of success that they desire.
No, respect, man. I appreciate that. So let me rephrase the question here a little bit, make it specific about you, right? Because you had this, upbringing, playing sports. You had a cup of coffee in the big leagues. You then went military route, got into the Marine Corps. You then, jumped into the police force, and it was probably at a point where a lot of people were telling you, hey, why are you taking this big leap of faith? So what was it about Will that was able to kind of step in, despite not having a background in sales, entrepreneurship, business, that enabled you to immediately take off in the way that you had did?
Yeah, and like it's when I left police world, dude, and I ventured off into the fitness world, and I helped a buddy build a brick and mortar franchise. We built 14 stores in 2 years. That was the first time I really learned. Hey, I think I've got an act for entrepreneurship, and I don't necessarily have to fit inside of someone's framework. But dude, when I left that fitness company, like I was making good money, but I wasn't good with money. So I had to get rid of 2 cars. I'm living in my buddy's mom's fucking pantry, studying for my real estate license. But like, dude, I'm curious, I'm ambitious, and the one thing that was cool growing up is, my mom played, she was an Olympian, but she played music for Columbia Records as well. And I never belonged to a clique. Like I played baseball and football, but I was in marching band and symphonic band, and I was in theater. And like when I was in the Marine Corps, I had friends outside of the Marine Corps. When I was a cop, I had friends outside of the police world. And I never allowed an industry to become my identity. Right. And I've just always kind of seen how like one industry and the development of those skill sets there then becomes, the launching pad for the next endeavor. And I didn't think I saw myself forever being a cop or, forever being in the Marine Corps. They were great things. I was young, I was curious, and I wanted to test myself and be a part of something bigger than myself. And hey, now that I'm approaching 40, I mean, I didn't get into real estate until I was 34, man. I've been as much success as we're having. I'm not even 7 years in the game yet. January 5th will be years, the start of my 7th year in real estate. So I did a lot of adulthood and a lot of exploring prior to getting here, but I'm never finished. I'm curious. And there's always like that next step of growth. And financially, man, it's not that I'm working harder now than when I was a cop. I'm just in a faster fucking lane. Real estate is significantly more lucrative than being a cop financially. And after you've been running gun for a long time, I have ambitions for my family. I have ambitions for how I want to raise my kids. I have ambitions for opportunities and things I want to do with my family. And that requires a certain level of financial success to get there. And hence why real estate becomes a great spot. But it's also so vast with everything you can do. It serves me as a leader. I'm able to lead realtors and help them build their business, which also still pays me, right? So there's just a lot of things there. But I think it boils down to just not allowing a job or whatnot to be my identity, continuing to be curious and just never being afraid to start over. If you go to my Instagram and you scroll to the bottom, Frank, I'm 34 years old with a Lyft sticker on my fucking car, driving Lyft at night to make a buck while I'm sleeping in a fucking food pantry, studying for my real estate license. Like everyone thinks they have to make more. I got to make more money. I got to make more money. And then I can, or once I save up enough money, then I can quit my job and I can go over here. It's not what you need to make more of to have an opportunity. What are you willing to give up? I got rid of my apartment. I sold 2 fucking cars and I filed for bankruptcy. And I'm sleeping in a fucking food pantry, her Y2K pantry. Remember that, Frank? Y2K? Right? The first pandemic, right? Like, dude, and I'm sleeping on a little twin mattress on the floor. And I'm not saying that to impress people. I'm saying it to impress upon the point that I was willing to give everything else up for the next opportunity. I was willing to sacrifice. I had $36 to my name because I didn't save money well when I helped my buddy build his fitness company, man. Cool. But like I was willing to just sacrifice and give everything up in order for the start over. Most people, people I coach, dude, and they got 200 something thousand dollars of equity on their home and they don't want to refinance or sell. You don't want to sell your house and put a couple $100,000 in the bank to fund your next endeavor. I had $36, dude. Some of these folks, they've got so much opportunity they're sitting on. They don't want to downgrade their lifestyle. They don't want to be judged by their friends of not living in the same house or getting rid of their stupid car. And for me, hey man, I've never overly cared about that stuff. I was always more interested in the opportunity, and I don't care what I got to give up for it. I want a shot.
You said that in building the fitness company, 14 locations, you came to the realization that you had some of these entrepreneurship skills. Do you think entrepreneurship is innate? Is it genetic? Is it something that people are born with? Or does anybody have the ability to become a successful entrepreneur?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the answer is it's all the above, right? Like some people are born entrepreneurs and they do great. Some of them are born entrepreneurs and they suck at being an entrepreneur, and they should just learn how to fucking listen to someone and go work for a company because they do better. But because they decided to ditch class and not listen to authority, they think they're a serial entrepreneur and they suck at it. And they'd be a better number 7 than a number 1 for whatever bullshit they're running. Some of us, We've just been a part of systems, like being a part of baseball, being in the Marine Corps, being a cop. I was a part of an institution and I crushed it. And I never identified entrepreneur skill sets because the path I was taking, was just different. But as I started to evolve, I wasn't blind to, hey, I think there's something there. Cool. But I don't think it's born. I don't think it's taught. I don't think it's genetic. I think it's all the above. It's literally circumstantial to self-awareness.
How does one grow in their self-awareness?
Yeah. I mean, you've got some great questions, dude. Like, as much as I'm talking on this podcast, there's a lot of rooms where I shut the fuck up. Right? Like, there's a lot of guys that are ahead of me in business that do great that I listen to. And I think it all stems from being curious. Like the solopreneur thing, it bothers me so much, not from an ego standpoint, but I wish I could tell solopreneurs, hey man, you're not getting anywhere by yourself. And if you continue to force that route, it's more arrogant than anything. And if you just get a little bit more curious and realize where you can take some skill set, and I don't mean you have to have a partner in your business, but maybe you have a coach, or maybe you have an organization where you go learn from inside of a group or whatever it may be. But the bottom line is the things we're doing on YouTube, our infrastructure for our systems and processes with our CRMs, these are all things that we ventured out and learned. And some of these things were in different industries that crush, and we figured out how it's actually a great thing for real estate. And we pulled it in. But the bottom line is, man, we've got a lot of folks that are great around us. We've never not been curious, and just understanding, the more resourceful you can be with understanding that, the better you're going to get. And the solopreneur thing, man, I think it's one dimensional at best.
I love that, man. I love that. And I think, having the background in sports, having gone through the military, working in the Marines, in the police force, you learn leadership, but you also learn the ability to follow. I mean, it's required in all three of those. And I think pride keeps so many people, men specifically, from extending the hand out and reaching out for help. It's like there's something innate kind of in men, right? It's like we want to become we want to be the problem solver, but it's like we have to kill that ego here a little bit and say, okay, that guy over there, that guy's got the life that I want to live. Let me reach out. Let me ask him, how did you do that?
Yeah, dude, you know the best way to kill your ego? Here's an example. Anyone super shredded that crushes the gym will never make fun of a fat person trying. It's never the high performers that aren't willing to help. It's always these people in the middle that are always faking like they're better than they are, that they're richer than they are, that they got it going on more than they do. If you start feeling that and you're insecure to reach out or to get help from folks because you're in fear of judgment or whatever it is, change your circle. Because there's guys around me, man, that they make $12, $14 million a year, and they've never been shy of where they sucked, where they've been vulnerable and things got compromised and what helped them. And because they understand abundance, them helping me doesn't take away from them, right? Like a candle will never burn out lighting another candle, bro. Run that experiment. When have you ever took a candle to light another candle and the one that you used burnt out? Never. Not only does it not burn out, it doesn't even lose its fucking flame, dude. And if you find people not wanting to help you, if you find people that are talking a certain way, it's like you got to change your circle. Because Frank, dude, really high performers, dudes that have really built something, whether it's their physical fitness, their financial fitness, their business, guys that have really done it, man, they're the real deal. They have no problem talking about insecurities and vulnerability. Dude, they got nothing to prove. And they also know at some point somebody helped them. And I've never met a guy above me that also had it paid forward by guys so they're almost paying it forward to me because of the guys before them. And dude, that's the same way the Marine Corps was. How do you think leadership's passed down? You got guys fighting wars in a different way than we've ever fought a war before. Iraq happens. We've never had an urban warfare like that. How do you think we got great? Guys had to go fuck it up and learn and die and sacrifice but they were taking all that knowledge and then they were taking that leadership back and they were teaching the next generation of Marines how to get better, right? It's that, dude. It's so if you can't find that in your circle and it makes you insecure to reach out, you got to find a new circle, man.
Man, I'm literally getting goosebumps because I was having this exact conversation with a young client yesterday. This guy's in his early 20s, about ready to finish up with med school, just took his boards yesterday morning, ready to kind of start his career as a doctor. And he's realizing he's had this group of friends from high school that are holding him back, that are still clinging onto that party, that kind of mediocre lifestyle. And he's like, Frank, where do I find these people? And I shared with him exactly what you just said there. Identify the people in the life that you want to become, figure out where they spend their time, go those places, introduce yourself, and be curious. Ask questions, because every single one of them sitting at a bar at a 5-star hotel has had people help them along the way, and they want nothing more than to pass that.
Yeah, reach out to Frank. Reach out to me. Like, dude, do you know who Andy Frisella is?
Brother, I wish I would go grab the Real American Freedom hat right now.
Okay, I was on Andy Frisella's podcast.
You got to connect me with Andy if you could, man.
He's amazing, right? Like, awesome guy. Do you know how that happened? People say, how did you get on Andy Frisella's podcast? I go, well, I had him on my podcast. They go, wait, how did you have Andy on your podcast? I go, I fucking emailed him. On his website, it says, think Andy's a good fit for your podcast? So I wrote and said, hey, here's how long we've been following you. Here's our success in business. Here's who I am. 2 weeks later, his wife reached out and says, hey, sorry for the delay. Just I was mentioning what I did in the military. They had to check out and make sure I was who I said I was. He says, you are who you say you are. We think Andy would be a great fit for your podcast. He hopped on Zoom, hopped on my podcast. He could tell we were fans. The interview went great. You know what he said at the end? You guys are cool motherfuckers. You should be on our podcast. And we said, you don't have guests on your podcast. He goes, no, man, we're starting in December. You guys should come out to First Form headquarters and be on our podcast. He didn't fucking owe me that. I'm fucking nobody. Dude, that probably grew 40-something thousand followers for me over a 90-day period. I was getting cookies at my house from people that like, dude, I relate to you so much. It's so cool. Andy had you on. And my wife's like, you're not going to eat those, are you? Like, I'm like, you think someone's trying to poison me? Of course I'm going to eat these fucking cookies. Are you crazy? But the point is, Andy's been a good dude to us, man. And like, it's out there. If you, look, whatever you're looking for, you're going to find it. If you're looking for excuses, you're going to find it. If you're looking for guys, whether it's myself or Frank or whatnot, like when we're putting on these podcasts and giving knowledge, go to Will_Grimes on Instagram. Follow me, send me a DM so I see your message, and I'm going to respond to you, man. It's like there are people, you got to do the work, but there are people willing to help. It's just more so the reluctancy of just not doing it.
Yeah, I love that, man. That's how we've landed many of the top guests here as well. You go to the contact page, you do a little brief, background on what the show is about, a little bit of the success that we've had, and say, hey, this is the conversation. You kind of highlight some bullet points, and being good at what I do also kind of helps here as well. But I love that, man. Yeah,
and dude, you don't need, and like here's another thing, right? Like you don't need Tony Robbins, you don't need Andy Frisella. Like there's so many people between the billionaires and where you're starting that are more than proficient in helping you. Understand you're on a ladder. So whether it's a coach or a mentor that's just a little bit ahead of you, if anything, that's better because you can actually see the path. You try to go talk to Andy about business, buddy, they're so big. When you're first starting out, you can't even fathom how they did it. You get a guy that's a little bit ahead of you, 2-3 years ahead of you, you need that guy. And maybe he's not famous. And maybe he's not well known. Doesn't matter. Like, stop romanticizing mentorship, right? Stop romanticizing who your fucking coach is. You need someone a couple years ahead of you. So one, they can help you. But secondly, you can actually see that far ahead of you and it'll make sense to you. And then you can start applying it. Like, you don't need fucking Tony Robbins for that, right? But people over romanticize mentorship and coaching. And if it's not Tim Grover or some shit, right? It's like, dude, no.
Well, that same logic applies to the content creation. They overanalyze it, thinking I haven't done enough, so I can't add value. It's like, no, you only need to be helping people that are 1 or 2 steps behind you. And then what that's going to do is that's going to force you to continue to level up, because as the clients that are following you, as the audience that's following you is growing, in order for them to stick with you, you're going to have to continue to grow and evolve there as well. Too many people want to start creating content. They're like, I'm not there yet. I'm not shredded with a 6-pack. Well, you just went on a 30-pound weight loss journey. There's a lot of people that need to go on a 30-pound weight loss journey. Talk about what you did there and then grow that audience and then continue to take them to the next step that you're going to get to.
100%, dude.
Yeah. I want to ask you about your time in the military. I mean, you had a handful of deployments, right, in Iraq?
I don't talk too much about it, man. I don't get into that stuff. I feel like there's a lot of guys that just get romantic about it and they've got great stories, and I love and appreciate them for the stories that they give. I don't have an overly romantic, military stories that I decide to share. And I really try to get into like my vulnerabilities, right? So like speaking at WealthCon for Ryan Pineda or being on Andy's show, I talk about never shooting a rifle until boot camp. My mom was a hippie. We didn't have guns in the house. And I talk about not knowing how to swim when I got to boot camp. Like I talk about the challenges I had to overcome. There's a certain creed, I want to live by, and there's a certain things I don't want to romanticize. And again, there's plenty of guys with significantly better stories. deployments and stuff than I do.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Anything it did to maybe even just change your perspective and outlook on life, though, right? Like a sense of gratitude, appreciation.
Yeah, so never shooting a rifle until boot camp. I was so fucking nervous, dude, because my dad, Vietnam vet in the Marine Corps, distinguished shooter. My grandfather served with General Patton, couple Silver Stars, couple Bronze Stars, shot a fucking plane down with a Thompson, a Tommy gun or whatever. And here I am, never even holding a rifle, but I come from like a family of just like a lot of like success in the military. And I was so scared and just not being successful. And I remember like we were dry firing for a week, which is where you're just practicing your positions and pulling the trigger with no ammo, and you're just aiming at some targets. And we finally get to the week where we're shooting. I sit down in this ammo can. It's my turn to shoot for the first time. And dude, I'm so nervous. And drill instructor Sergeant Graham comes up and he's like, "What the fuck's the matter with you?" And you have to talk in third person in boot camp. Like, this recruit's scared. Like, so I'm fucking stumbling over my stupid words. And he's like, "Grimes, shut the fuck up. Just talk to me. What's up?" And I go, "Sir, I've never shot before." He's like, "What's the problem?" I go, "Well, some of these guys, like, they grew up hunting with their dads, and I've never done it." And dude, he kneels down and he goes, "Grimes, you have no bad habits. Do what I say, when I say, to the best of your ability. You're going to crush. I fucking love guys like you." And then he just walks off like, no big deal. Complete fucking paradigm shift of all of a sudden I have the advantage. Now, dude, I was a high shooter out of 400 guys in boot camp, not only my company, but the entire division. And it taught me that, hey, if you're willing to work hard and when you've got no bad habits and you understand that you have to learn from the right people. I was learning from the best gunman in the world. I didn't go to some Kentucky windage backyard bullshit to learn how to shoot. I went to the Marine Corps to learn how to shoot. And it taught me about my circle. It taught me about how to be efficient with who's teaching you shit and how vetted they are. And just realizing being new is the advantage. No bad habits, right? Like not knowing how to swim until boot camp. That was a fucking nightmare. I learned how hard I could work at something to barely get an improvement. I swear they like let me pass swim qual 4 because they knew we were fighting war in the desert, not the fucking water. And they're like, "Hey man, just fucking, we need guys in battle. Shove this guy through." But I learned a real level of hard work and an expectation of getting this much out of it. Right? Fitness is very similar, right, Frank? Like you can diet and like you're gonna get some progress, but dude, it's like you're giving a mile to get an inch. But that's okay. That like adjust your expectation of what you think it's supposed to be because it's not gonna change overnight. And those are the stories I love about my military career, man, because though that's what people can relate to. People can't relate to some romantic jumping out of a helicopter story, but they can relate to fear, never doing something before, something being hard or being embarrassed, but then getting fucking going. People are so scared of the camera. I was scared of shooting. Like it's way more relatable, right? So those are the two big stories I love sharing and talking about.
Yeah, no, I love that, man. And I'm sure it was that mindset as well that, 6 years ago, like you said, when you're in your mid 30s, you have no experience in the real estate game. You're jumping out now creating content. It's like, why would anybody listen? Like, yeah, you've been new there. What was it about real estate though after leaving the fitness industry? Like, did you see something? Were you told from somebody? Did you have a conversation? You're just like, "Hey, that sounds a lot of fun. I saw something on TV where people are making a lot of money."
No, like let's go back to Circle, right? Like I was talking about it. My buddy Alex Chapman, who owns Fitness on the Rocks, and I've done some stuff with our fitness stores to his fitness events, and we sponsored some of his events. And he had just gotten into real estate 6 or 7 months prior to me. And I'm like, "Who introduced you to that?" He goes, "Oh, one of our regional directors for 24-hour fitness." And he's like, I'm like, "Yeah, man, hey, I just left Fit Republic. I'm looking for something." And so I was helping him with Fitness on the Rocks. And it's a huge event. 10,000 people show up at Red Rocks Amphitheater in Colorado, and he absolutely crushes it. And I was selling sponsorship spots at the venue to sponsors and crushed it for him. He's like, "Dude, you would crush real estate." I go, "Yeah?" He's like, "Yeah." Like my wife said the same thing when I was thinking about doing something new. My wife was the one that was like, "Hey, you ever wonder if you work 16 hours working on your own thing versus someone else's, like what that would be?" And I said, "No, I've never thought of that idea, but hey, good point. Maybe I should consider it." And I did. And my wife was like, "Hey, I told her what Alex said about real estate. She's like, I think you would do great at it. I've got some friends, they do great at it. Like that could be." And like, dude, I didn't have a better idea. So I start looking into it, man. It's a $300 online course to get a license. And it's like, cool. Well, I don't know real estate, but I've been new before. I know how to put myself around the right people. I definitely know how to work hard and go a mile deep learning and becoming a practitioner. I mean, what's the worst that could happen if I give this my all for a year, get my license, and then give it my all like I know how to give for 12 months. It's either going to work out or I'm going to meet someone or something while in pursuit of, and it will take me to something that does work. But again, it was that curiosity. It was that circle of just people caring for me and knowing me. And like, dude, I've never been romanticized from titles. CEO, sergeant, fucking counter sniper instructor for division schools. Don't give a fuck. And in the Marine Corps, nobody gives a fuck about your title if you're a piece of shit. If you're not respected by your peers, that's literally, dude, that's the only thing that matters is if your peers respect who you are. So when they were talking to me about real estate, I had no ego to, what are you guys talking about? I'm going to go be a fucking soccer mom and go fucking show homes. I had zero ego to whatever I thought my perception was. I had 100% attention toward how do my skill sets of managing emotions, knowing how to put a game plan 10 steps ahead, managing other people's emotions during stressful times. What skill sets do I have that apply to real estate? I made real estate fit me, not the other way around. Make sense? And I had zero ego to, I'm not a soccer mom with the fucking open house sign. Shut the fuck up. Like, and it's, dude, we do investments. We have online courses. We're doing our own private investments on properties. We're selling a ton. There's so much more to real estate than just an open house sign. But if I'd have just been so egotistical toward a title or an image of what I thought it was versus really hearing why someone thought I would do well at it and then identifying my skill sets and then making that profession fit me, I wouldn't fucking be here. And I've never been romanticized about a title or an image, and just being curious about skill set over perception.
I love that mindset and mentality so much, man. And it's got me to where I am in many endeavors in my life, thinking that exact same way. What do you think is the biggest skill set needed to succeed in real estate that the average or most real estate agents and brokers aren't even aware of? I'm sure it's something that you just listed there, but kind of zero in. And like the biggest one that's enabled you guys to succeed that most people aren't even looking at.
So beyond being a professional and knowing law and knowing contract and just being a great practitioner, let's just for the conversation's sake, let's assume we all know your shit, be a professional, know your fucking contracts, know your playbook, like be a great practitioner. Cool, got that. That being said, the number one thing is equanimity. Right? Like you and your wife are moving from a different state and we're getting competitive on a home and we're submitting an offer or a counter, or hey, we're going through negotiations with inspections, and it's the most stressful time of your life and it's the most expensive purchase of your life. It's not about me. Like I need to understand how to be poised, composed, and lead you through the most emotional process year to date. And if I don't know how to, it doesn't matter how much I know how to do my job. So many realtors, man, when their clients get nervous, they get nervous. When they get happy, the realtor gets happy. It's like, dude, you don't get to ride the roller coaster with them, man. It's not about you. You're running the fucking ride. Like you need to, hey, if something happens and like the sewer's fucked up, but this is their dream home and it's the corner lot and we were so competitive to win the offer and now we're finding out the sewer's, oh my God, but we're already moving. We already sold our other home. You got to navigate and negotiate terms and conditions on inspections, and you got to make sure that you can navigate that stressful situation and lead and still come out on top and make sure that they're taken care of. And not only are they taken care of, but you're minimizing the stressors. Guess what I did as a cop, Frank? I got to lead. I got to think 10 steps ahead. And Frank, if I respond to your call and you just got hit in a car accident, you just got smashed by a truck, and I show up, you think I get to show up and go, oh, fuck, dude, your car's fucked? No, man, I got to go, hey, man, my name is Officer Grimes. Can you hear me? And you say, yes, sir, I can hear you. Hey, Frank, are you in any pain? Yeah, dude, my fucking leg is killing me. Hey, Frank, listen, man, sorry to hear about your leg, but it's actually a great thing that you can feel it though, right? And hey, brother, here's what I'm going to do when it comes to, I've called dispatch. We've got fire and rescue on the way. Here's what we're going to do. Your door's smashed, brother. We're going to use the jaws of life to pull your door off. It's big and it's loud, and I don't want you to think that you're more hurt than you are. I just need you to understand that we don't want to move you in order to get you out of the car. Here's why we're doing a neck brace. Like, I'm going to walk you through these next steps and see how my tone just changed. I'm talking to you, Frank. I'm going to lean right inside that window and I'm talking to you like this. And it's just going to be you and I. And not only am I going to manage your stress and not lie to you. If you're in pain, I get it, but we're going to talk about the bright side. And I'm just going to manage the next steps that I know are coming when fire and rescue get here. I know how the ride's going to go. I know how the hospital's going to go. And hey, I'll tell you what, I'll go with you. Dude, like that's police work. That's what I'm doing when people are nervous about buying a home. I'm right here and I'm leading you, and we're going to manage the circumstances of a contract and of homes and what needs to be fixed or not fixed and negotiating it all. But I know the steps ahead, and I'm going to make sure that I prep you for this. Dude, it's like everyone thinks that like it's my fitness business success that made me successful in real estate. No, it's my compassion and equanimity for people and managing their stressful situations that's made me a great realtor. But again, that's how I made real estate fit me. What are my skill sets that correlate versus me going and putting some suit on and acting like the fucking next guy and me trying to fit real estate? I would have carried no skill set. But when you think about an industry fitting you, you're able to take your skill sets and your experience and apply it to that new industry.
Is that what you think is going to keep AI from taking over and dominating real estate? Is exactly what you just shared right there.
Would you have an AI represent you in court?
Probably not today, but I believe we're under a massive revolution. And
if you're in court for murder, you want AI representing you?
Well,
no shit. Dude, real estate's too legal. Contracts are too legal, and there's too many things that are liable. People, you're not going to not have representation, man. You can use AI for marketing and different things for your brand, but when it comes to executing contracts and having a buyer agent or a listing agent represent you during your sale to make sure things are kosher, you're not going to have a robot do that. But AI does a great job, and it's going to continue to do a great job on the marketing side of building your business.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Will, brother, I've enjoyed the hell out of this conversation, man.
Well, you got some great questions, man. Great vibe. You got some of the best questions I've ever gotten, buddy. Like I really appreciate just your pursuit and interest of business, man. Like you can't make up great questions. Like it's just, you can tell you bleed this stuff, man. I appreciate such a great interview.
Yeah, well, just like you, man, it's been the curiosity of wanting to learn, of wanting to understand people. I've always enjoyed that. You know, you made a comment earlier about never being tied to a clique or a group. You know, I've made the joke multiple times. Like, I believe I'm one of the only people in the world that could sit down with a crackhead and a PhD in the same day and feel like both of them can connect with me. It's something that I've always really felt. So this has been absolutely incredible. Tell the guys, tell the audience out there where they can connect with you. Any big exciting things you got coming up in addition to the things we talked about. We'll close it up with our last and final question.
Yep. So I obviously I do coaching and stuff like that for business coaching and business development. But bottom line, if you go to Will_Grimes on Instagram, I'm the guy that responds to everybody. If you got questions, if you want to link up with coaching, if you want to find out what events I'm speaking at, if you got questions in business or just a couple pointers I could give you, man, the number one thing I love is just interacting with people from the start. So Instagram is the best place, dude. I'm still active there. I still run my own account. We'll absolutely love to hear from anybody.
Awesome. And is it business coaching in the real estate game or any businesses?
Any business, man. I do a lot of real estate because obviously that's my industry. But when it comes to like YouTube and infrastructure of systems and process and how to scale, there's a ton I can help people with as far as like just scaling their business. So any entrepreneur that's out there that's building it, Frank, whether it's you or anybody else, buddy, we're happy to help. And they also get access to my business partner that runs a lot of analytical stuff for us.
Love it. Love it. Guys, we'll have all of Will's contact, his Instagram, his pages, his podcast, all that link down there in the show notes below. So last and final question here. Will is going to go in a little bit different of a direction, but obviously the title of our show is called The Superhuman Life. For me, I believe that's when you understand that you have some unique gifts, that you're here for a purpose, but you're more focused on the development and sharing those gifts with the world than anything else. That's what I define as living a superhuman life. But I love to always get the guest take. So Will Grimes, as we close out today's conversation, how would you define living a superhuman life?
You know, like no matter how great you are at something, if you're not helping others with it, like who gives a shit, right?
Amen. Amen. Guys, Will Grimes, check him out, connect with him, share this episode. If you're in the real estate game, this was one for you. Share it across the board with all of your realtors. But for Coach Frank Rich, Will Grimes, we love you guys. We'll see you in the next one.